Hello and welcome to the stream. I am Beck Altar. We are going to do a developer live update reaction to the December update. Now, this one should be a really good update because they are transitioning at this point into Unreal 5. Up till now, they've been in Unreal 4 engine. So, this is a pretty major update. And yeah, so this should be a really good video to talk about. And sorry, it's a little messy behind me. Those are actually boxes of mostly DVDs. You know, DVDs, all there because I bought a new shelving unit for DVDs, so I can actually start unpacking my DVDs. And this box has got a a mixed bag of things. You know, I got a I don't know, chamois or something, and jump rope, skip rope. So, yeah, I'm still slowly unpacking things. Some of the cool things I found to add to my wall of wolves is I got this right, and it's got those little lights behind it, so kind of looks like a wolf howling in the moon. But I don't just have one; I have two. So yeah, so they're really cool. So I have to figure out where I'm going to put these. I would love to put these somewhere in view of my stuff here, but for now they're just going to sit on my desk where I can see them. And I don't want to waste the batteries on the little tea lights. So I'm just kind of letting people show up to the live stream here. Twitch.tv/BeckAltar. Otherwise, this is going to be uploaded to Rumble and YouTube. So please like, subscribe, share, whatever. Comment. You know, do you agree or disagree with anything that I'm saying? My thoughts and opinions. I would love to hear that. So. Okay, so let's get into it here. So yeah, feel free to comment if you are in chat live, and we'll make sure the volume is up nice and loud. See how much I have to comment on. Okay, so that's a new logo there. It's more icy. You got snow and stuff going on. That's cool. It's kind of Christmassy sounding.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our glorious Ashes of Creation December development update.
It's a nice looking background.
We hope that you have all been having a wonderful December, and we're excited.
You know what? I should go get my Santa hat.
We've got a lot of cool things to showcase. But first and foremost, obviously,
you know what? I'm going to go get my Santa hat since this is a December update. I'll be right back. I'm not even going to worry about editing this out of the video. But since this is the December update, I'll put on my Santa hat too, so I'm in theme, even though it's like the end of February. But whatever.
Welcome to our creative director, Stephen Sharif, as per usual.
Thank you.
Your house
I'm
looks
excited
so
to be here. Oh yeah, John never goes light on Christmas. We now have 4 Christmas trees in the house.
Didn't you have it already set up before Thanksgiving even happened?
Yes, technically, actually, I believe the first Christmas tree went up on Halloween. So
yeah, he was super
That'd be cool to have a Halloween
tree. And we watched
tree.
the Nightmare Before Christmas. So
oh,
It was perfect.
That's so cute. Brian, you're
Yes.
watching. I want that kind of relationship. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just calling him out. I'm just kidding.
I love the stream overlay.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
Mike
this is your first
did.
time maybe seeing it. So,
Yeah, I haven't seen
yeah.
this yet. This looks
did,
great.
Mike did an amazing job. Mike is our graphics designer. If you've seen a lot of the graphics that we've done over the past few years, he is the one that does it all. So amazing.
Yeah,
and we
great
also have our
job,
video
Mike.
editor too, who's been putting together a lot of cool stuff too. So it's
I don't
been
own a Christmas tree.
exciting. It's cool seeing our team grow.
Yes.
I don't think I'd have the room
and
for one.
Of course, I'm Margaret Crone. I'm your community marketing lead. And today,
Don't
we
make
have
me
quite a
drink
few
too much
things,
because
but
I'm
we
running
wanna-
out of.
I want
I
to
should have
remind
made
you,
me a
if you're
fresh
watching this
bottle.
over on YouTube, to make sure to
Can always
subscribe
grab beer
to us.
from the fridge.
There's a bunch of you who are watching, but you're not subscribed. You don't want to miss out on any cool videos because we might have some coming in the upcoming days. And also following us on all of the places, all of our social channels. Get that out of the way.
I'm not
Today,
used to wearing this, by the way. Do I
Is
have to
it
wear it
weird?
the whole stream? Because Margaret texted me this morning and said, "Do you have to wear something festive?" And I said, "I don't have anything festive."
You
So
do. You have that. I tapped that shirt.
That's yeah. I think it's actually at the office because I took that off right after. I don't have it at home.
To give some context, it's a Magic the Gathering shirt that says
Yes,
that.
because you
It's a,
tap
like,
mana. You
Yeah.
tap mana.
To give context for people who don't know what,
Right,
what
right.
we're going on about. It's kind of like a ugly Christmas sweater, but honestly, no one's shirts were very ugly this year for Christmas. We got to call it something
No.
else, but you know.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody with an ugly sweater actually.
Yeah.
Was there
I don't
somebody
know.
with an ugly sweater? Oh, you know who had an ugly sweater? I think Alexi had an ugly sweater.
I don't
No,
have an
his
ugly
his
sweater,
was
I have a
cool. It
ripped
had like little
sweater.
pepes everywhere.
I got a
Oh,
sweater,
yeah,
this,
well,
If
like
I
a
was voting, I
stitching
would
or
have voted
something
his
ran
number
out
one.
along the
By
chest.
the way,
Basically,
I
you
hope
have-
everyone has their
I
eggnog.
gotta figure out how to
I
fix
don't
that.
have eggnog, but I
eggnog?
have a cocoa mocha latte, like a
Mm.
hot cocoa with coffee.
Ooh, that eggnog.
Throw a little Bailey's in there.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think John snuck some like whiskey in that or something.
You know, usually you're drinking out of like a wine glass with water in it. I'm like, it's not wine, guys.
No,
It's just water.
I have my Christmas glass. It's little
Little gnomies.
little
Little
gnomes.
gnomes.
I was gonna say dwarves, but yeah, I guess they're gnomes.
They are
right?
not dwarves.
Yeah,
Do
I
not
know.
start. Those are fighting words, sir.
Gnome dwarves.
Do not ever
They
call
could.
those.
Have you ever
dwarves.
seen a half
will fight
gnome,
you.
half dwarf?
No.
No, me neither. We should think of that.
What? Okay, anyways, reeling it back in.
Too much whiskey in the
We're
eggnog.
very
Sorry, go ahead.
excited for today, obviously. It's kind of the end. This is our last day of work for the season, and then we're going into like a little bit of a holiday for us at Intrepid. And then everyone's going to come back refreshed and revived for the new year. We have a lot of cool stuff planned for 2022. 2022. Got the year right.
Is it 2022? Have we
Yeah.
time traveled?
It will be. It will be. We're
It will
coming
be.
to it. So we're going to go over some quick reminders: studio update, design update, environment art update, and character art update. And we'll also do a Q&A. We do have a lot of videos to show you today. So
Ooh, so many
buckle in.
videos. Ooh.
So
the delay is going to be worth it, I think. So I know we delayed a week.
This is a little
But,
longer
I was
of a
like,
video
Steven,
than
this
what
is
we
the
had
first
last
time
week
I've
as
had
well.
to like fully
Last week
delay
was
a
I
stream.
think just
No.
over.
And I-
Well,
and
think it
I
was an
was-
hour and a half.
Making
I was
me
really-
nervous.
total, but-
I was really trepidatious also. And I like texted Margaret the day before the stream and I was like, Margaret, I mean, this is a really off chance, it's likely not going to happen.
I
Maybe
was already
5%.
prepared for it when
I was
you
like,
said that.
it's 5% chance, but I just need to know, is it going to be okay if we push the stream a week?
And I was like, no.
She
but
was
we'll-
like, well, my staff is gone for all
Yeah.
next
All
week.
my-
5 minutes
all my
in, we
staff
haven't
is
even done
gone
our
next
reminder
week, so
yet.
I'm alone. But I think Vaknar is actually here in chat assisting
Ah, very
from the
good.
airport. What a badass. Because he said he was bored, and I was like, all right, we'll just change
That's a
your
neat looking
time
Phoenix.
off on the clock thing.
Kind of like a
So thank you,
mix
Vaknar,
between
for working for
Archangel and Nova.
working on chat moderation via the, I guess, airport.
Yep.
I don't know. But yeah, we have amazing staff. I think a bunch of them are actually watching this as a little watch party at the office too, to
Yeah, I
lock
think
up the year.
Benoit brought in some like chocolate croissants. I'm actually sad I'm not there, but I think there's a little watch party going on in the
Yeah.
office.
Hi guys. We love
Hello.
you. Thank you for all your hard work. So I'll just quickly go through our reminders and we'll get to it. So of course we had a web update on December 14th. If you didn't know,
I didn't.
this may have caused some of you guys to have to put some information in when you log in the first time
Yes, I
after
did.
this update. The reason for that is we've done a lot of SSO optimizations. We've also changed contact emails, so they're now unique per account. This is going to solve a lot of issues that we're having with people's accounts. I think there were some people who had multiple accounts and didn't realize they did. So we're just trying to fix that and
good.
adjust things because from like legacy stuff that was going on prior. We've also made a lot of error message changes and copy changes in order to ensure that that it's a little bit more clear of what's going on. And then also for security reasons, some of those things have been a little bit more blanketed. So they're not as obvious. And of course, we fixed a bunch of bugs that were coming up throughout
Gotta
the
have them
updates
security
that we've been
updates.
doing. And we have some future updates and future SSO changes
The
that we're going
closer
to
they
be
get to
doing in the
launch,
upcoming months.
the more
So
they're
stay
going
tuned for
to
those.
run into people
And we'll
trying
have
to
probably a few other pages
DDoS
that are
the
going to be
website
updated.
and
We have
hack
the
it
support
and
page.
stuff like that.
The designs I mentioned are all approved, and now those have been starting to be implemented, and we're testing and doing a lot of back-end testing on those for ourselves internally before we push it live. Similarly to what we did with this update for the changes. So if you encounter any issues, please contact us via either our support Twitter or you can put in a ticket yourself. And for most things, we will want you to put a ticket in because we'll have to like look at data. Steven's like playing around with a scarf. You don't like it around your neck, huh?
No, actually, I've never really been a scarf person.
Yeah.
I
It is
don't like
weird
them
to
around
wear
me.
like a scarf around the neck for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
So the next thing we have here is we
I
do
did buy
have
the
our
winter
cosmetic
outfits.
swapping over. This will be the Frozen festivities on January 12th, 2022 at 11 a.m. So if you want to
The boat
grab
looked
these,
too
snag them up.
Asian.
Also, something that I noticed was that the costume is actually supposed to be blue, but it was red in the concept that we put out. So we're gonna keep it red, but yeah.
Yeah,
something
because if
that
it was
I
blue, I'd want
noticed
my money
too late.
back.
We also have, I believe, new emotes. So if you hop on over to our Discord, and I think they're actually doing like a Discord watch party right now.
That's what
if
I
you
need
want
is
to
Discord
chat with people at the
emotes.
same time as watching
I
this.
need to figure that out.
We have some cool new emotes available for you guys
I
based
know,
on
get a
some
bunch of
recommendations.
Dwarven
So
themed
if you have other
emotes.
emotes
What
that
do you
you'd like
think
to
a
see, let us
Dwarven
know, and we'll see what we can do about
emote
them.
would look like? I mean,
Fee and Nick
hammers,
are
hammers,
always ready
anvils,
to
gems,
help you express your
beards.
emotions and anger and love.
I like the rip ashes pile.
Yeah, you like that? I want an animated version of it where it like the ashes like
Just like
show.
trickles down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, we have our latest dev discussion that went out, which is how do you feel about in-game holidays that line up time-wise with out-of-game holidays? Do you prefer that your game world has a matching celebrations, or would you prefer to keep your real-world holidays away from the keyboard? And
I'd
you guys
almost
gave
say
a
a
lot
bit
of
of
great
both.
feedback on this. We've been
A
compiling
little bit of
data on
both.
it.
I mean, because here's the
and
thing, right?
We'll be sending that over to
you look at how many
lovely
holidays there are
development
all over
team,
the world.
and they'll be taking all of that into
You
consideration.
couldn't
But if you still have ideas or
match
thoughts,
them all the
feel
time
free to
because I
hop
mean,
on
this is a
over there
worldwide game.
and provide those to us.
So
We always
if you
continue
try
to
to,
keep those things updated.
you're excluding people.
And our next one is going to be on griefing.
Otherwise,
I know
I
this
should
is a
read that
huge
one.
topic in the MMO space, so if you have thoughts, be prepared to bring them in our January's
I
dev
don't
discussion
like
because it's gonna be fire, I'm sure. And we also have kind of our last guild gatherings. We may bring these back again, but that will be it if the design team feels they need them. But this last one is,
But yeah,
how do you feel about spies and
going back to the holiday thing, just pause it for a second. Because this is a worldwide game, they're based in North America, so clearly there's a emphasis on North American holidays. But they have a really big French, German, Russian community. Uh, Europe in general. You look at like places like India, tons of holidays. So if you try to match in-game holidays with the real world, you'd have holidays constantly. And what do you do when certain holidays overlap? So what I think they should do is balance that out, right? So you take a couple of real world holidays from all over the world, or from different regions of the world, and you could have them run in sync in game, and then take other holidays that are in the real world, have them at different times, and modify them a little different. So it's a nod, it's an homage to that holiday. Uh, or because here's the other thing, right? Like you have so many different classes and races. So the Dunir are going to celebrate a different set of holidays from the Renkai, right? Or the elves will have different holidays. Hell, the Dunir and the Nakua could have different holidays, and they're both Dwarven species. So you could have, depending on what race you are, you would celebrate at different holidays. You're not everybody is going to celebrate the same holidays all over the world. Um, and so what you could do is obviously different cultures are represented in the game that are from the real world, and so you could then represent those cultural holidays in from the real world into the game, Middle Eastern holidays and stuff like that for the humans and like the desert people and stuff like that. So that's how I would do it personally. And that way you're kind of it's a lot of variety as you're traversing the world. Um, you're going to see these different holidays, and I think that would be really neat. I think that would actually help promote people to travel, to explore, to interact with other cultures within the game as well. And it might even open up some dialogues and get people interested in the real world version of some of those holidays.
Double agents.
Ooh.
So very spies and intriguey vibes. Definitely give us your feedback as much as possible over there, and we'll be wrapping up that shortly as well.
My guild always had ongoing joke that whenever we were in the middle of a raid or some type of like operation or whatever, and somebody would join the Discord or the team speak late, and they'd be like, "Hey guys, where are you at? Where am I porting to?" Everyone would be like, "Spy, spy, espion," because whenever we'd have oftentimes in my play history, we would have spies constantly in the guild.
It's
And
because you
anytime
had spies in other guilds.
okay,
This
yes,
is karma.
but I had to. No, it wasn't karma. Mine was reactive. I had to have spies because they had spies. But yeah, whenever we would show up for something and there would be a giant raid of people all prepared to fight us, we knew what was happening. So yes.
And like the last thing that I have for reminders is that our content creator program applications are still open. We may be closing those in the future. So if you're a content creator, feel free to update that. Or if you already have applied, you can also edit if you have updated information that you want to share. And we'll keep you guys informed about that whenever we close it and we start going through those and inviting people in the future. So with that, I'm going to toss it over to you, Stephen, to go over studio updates.
Awesome. The studio update is amazing. Things have been going very well. This December, we've gotten a lot of stuff actually. It's interesting how as the year end kind of wraps up, everything kind of that you've been working on and has been kind of in pieces in like November and October, and you're like, oh, we're going to push this to January. It all just seems to like shore up and get in a nice spot and a good space and kind of a, close up, especially with what we've been working on that you guys are going to see, in this video we're going to show you here shortly.
Multiple videos.
Yeah. So it's been exciting to see the team hard at work. All of our accomplishments that we've had this year. 2021 was a huge year, and really the motivation at the studio, the morale is very high, and that's always great to see. Whenever you're a part of a team that has incredible passion and you get to share that passion
Everyone's
with everyone
so
you work
sweet.
with. I know.
They were all sending messages to each other. And like
the congratulations.
Like, yeah, McPee's like, we're not done with the game yet, guys.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, no congratulations yet.
Yeah,
so
McPee, McPee, our lead programmer, he comes into one of our channels that we use to kind of focus on certain efforts or projects or whatever. He jumps into the channel after everyone's like, yeah, great job. I went in there.
Oh,
I'm
they're
like,
so
outstanding
sweet.
job. Everyone's like, great job.
So
they're all little emotes, and McPee pops in and is like, we're not done with the game yet. There's no need to congratulate each other now.
He's such a troll, though. Everyone knows he's trolling.
I know, he's trolling. But I told him, I said, McPee, don't be a Scrooge for Christmas. Congratulations are in order. But yeah, especially McPee, because he did a lot of hard work on one of those one of the things we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the studio update, things are going great. It's nice to be back in studio. Obviously, we're keeping an eye on COVID and what's been happening with that. We're taking precautions, but it's great to be part of a team where everyone's passionate about what they're doing.
Oh,
And
better likes the video.
this year has been a particularly
I'm surprised you don't have
illuminating
more likes. They only have
because of the
1.3
accomplishments.
thousand and
And
45,000 views.
things are going good on the hiring front. Things are going well there. We've had a few new additions to the team that started in December. We have a few new that are coming up in January. We're going to be kicking off the new year with a pretty heavy focus on staffing up even more, significantly more. The project is obviously Ashes. Making an MMO is a big thing, and making Ashes of Creation is a particularly big thing. So
A
need a
lot
lot
of
of
systems.
you need a lot of hands on deck, and it's great because we already have such talented devs, and we're getting a lot of a great talent pool in the applications that we receive, and interest from the industry and the community, and you guys all helping on that front. So big kudos
On
to
that
you
front,
guys.
the big question that everyone constantly asks us is in regards to a lead designer. I don't know if you want to
Yes.
talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah,
I just
happy to
know
talk about
that's a
that.
question that's going to be asked.
Absolutely.
That's not what we're announcing today on the stream.
No, that's a great question. Obviously a lead designer is a very important aspect to the development. Right now I've been assuming a lot of those responsibilities, also delegating a lot of those responsibilities out to my senior designers who are very talented. Our design team is an awesome, fantastic team. We have incredible talent there. For me, I'm a very calculated individual. When I move forward on something, I don't need to rush it. I don't need to settle. So for me, it's a process that's going to take time. And when I have landed on an individual, either internally from a promotion standpoint or externally, candidates that we've gone through and met with and interviewed, several of them who have even flown out to the studio and gotten pretty far in the process. For me, Ashes is my baby, and I want to make sure that one of the very most important roles is held by an individual that I can trust with that baby. So it's going to be a process, but when we find someone that I'm comfortable with, you guys will be made aware.
Took him how many years to get me to work for community management? So I think.
See? But good thing we waited.
I don't know. It was a lot for us to come in and work on. But I think,
it was great.
Yeah, it was. I actually saw a comment in the chat that was like, "How is this community so lovely already?" And I was like, "Oh, our community is just amazing." And obviously, the community team
Can't really
and
react to
volunteer
this.
mods
I mean,
have been wonderful.
I kind of
at,
agree.
building up this community and the content creators within our community. Like, we just can't express how
what do
thankful
I say or
we
add
are.
to
We
any
like
of this?
constantly tell you guys this, but it's just awesome to have a community that's very invested. And
Absolutely.
when we give you answers, you spread those answers to other people, so we're not having to be in there 24/7 like answering stuff. We do try to be, and I think people notice that we are kind of in all of the spaces. We have a very small team, but we try our best to be on every social platform and interacting with you guys on a daily basis and answering your questions. So we hope that you enjoy that.
Yeah.
Anything else on the studio update side?
No, I think that's it. I think people want to know why we delayed by a week the stream.
Yeah,
for an announcement.
Yeah, let's talk about that and move into the design segment.
Ooh. I've actually had a lot of fun.
My heart's racing.
Oh.
So now we're gonna get into the meat of it.
Don't say that. You're gonna make my heart race.
always races before our live streams. I'm always so nervous.
20 minutes. Get into the meat.
I'm a little bit nervous too, but honestly, it's very exciting, and I'm really happy with the opportunity to share this with the community. It was really fun watching over this last week since we made the delay announcement for the stream. All the speculation, and I would say of that speculation,
there were quite a few people who got it.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say about 40 or 50% of the conversation was about the correct thing.
So kudos to you guys.
Yeah, kudos to you.
Gals and pals.
So before we show it, I will talk a little bit about this. Obviously, the decision that we're going to reveal to you here shortly was something that we have been contemplating over the since last year, actually. And it took a lot of evaluation, and it took a lot of well, actually, I'll explain it after the video.
You
Let's
kind
just
of had a strike team that
yeah,
that was working on this too.
let's. I think people are excited and want to see the video, so we can
We
cut
have
to the
some
video.
frequently asked questions too, so we'll answer those
Yes.
questions, and I'll also take note of any questions that you guys ask in chat if they're not part of that list, and I'll also ask those as well. So.
Now, I want to be clear. This video is about. I'm going to preface it just a little bit. This video is about 20 minutes long. It's me running through a new environment, actually, that you guys haven't seen, a new area of the world.
I like the sound of that.
One particular point of interest and a very large tower or whatnot. I know everyone loves to see the new mount, so I did make sure to include some of that in this video.
You're such a troll. When I was watching the video and I saw a part, I was like, Steven.
So really the announcement is about how we actually go about making mounts. So well, those of you guys who guessed how mounts are made, you really were spot on. So well done there.
Nice.
Anyways,
I was like, Steven, I'm gonna beat you up. No, just kidding.
A little bit of trolling.
No more mounts.
But yeah, we can cut to the video. We'll talk a lot about it afterwards. And yeah,
We'll see you in about 18 minutes.
Welcome everyone to our final update video for the year of
Asian-looking
2021.
outfit.
And what a year it has been. We are ending it with quite a significant update. Yes, as you saw, we have officially begun the migration for Ashes of Creation to Unreal Engine 5. Now, we've actually been evaluating the move to UE5 since last year, but our focus was really on getting the project ready for Alpha 1, so we didn't have much time to evaluate.
Completely photorealistic.
Bad dear. Not like this. Hold on, I'm sorry.
But it's yeah, it's not completely realistic, photorealistic, but it looks really good.
Go back. Perfect.
Looks like there's a big ice giant or something back there. Frost troll.
So as I was saying, we didn't really have time to evaluate UE5 until actually after our Alpha 1 finished in August. The decision obviously was an important one, and right after our Alpha concluded, I created a strike team to assess our options and the best path forward for Ashes. The team spent much of August and September weighing the benefits and risks with such a move, and ultimately we ended up with a unanimous decision to move forward with the initial migration. So in October, our engineers began the process of merging our custom code base over to UE5, spearheaded by our glorious lead programmer McP. And I am happy to now show you Ashes in Unreal Engine 5. As you can see, we are in a different biome, one that you may not have seen before. Actually, you might have seen this. You might have seen some glimpses of it in the past videos, but I figured this area would be a pretty good one given the holiday season, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, of course. Shout out to our Aussie and Kiwi friends who are enjoying the start of summer. But as you can see, the weather systems actually are present in this area at the moment, which normally would give me some pause as a player.
Weather systems. I think they're good. Definitely makes a game feel more.
I have to consider the type of effects that cold weather would have on my spells and my character's well-being. But here is.
I mean, technically, colder weather should make you cast a little slower. Or if you're shivering, you might miss your target.
There's some creatures here, obviously, that we need to steer clear of. But I wanted to show off some of the initial work on implementing Lumen and Nanite into the world. I heard there's a cave up ahead we should check out. Maybe some massive tower with a giant dungeon underneath it. Who knows what we might find. Actually, you know what? Maybe we should change our clothing. This guy looks...
That looks like he'd be cold. Yeah, I think he'd be a little cold wearing that.
Let's see if okay, wear this one. I might blend into the snow then.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it definitely gives you a little more insulation there.
Gloves.
Well, you're gonna need gloves. It's cold.
Anything else? No, that's pretty good. Should we have a staff or a wand?
Probably a staff for better traction.
No,
You
staff.
should have gloves.
But it is a blue wand.
The blonde, yeah, the wand
Now,
does go with
I'm not
the
going
outfit better.
to show off some of the updates to combat. Obviously, there's been a significant amount of work that's being done from a prototyping perspective on a lot of the combat changes, and there will be opportunities for us to kind of show that in the future over the coming months. But I did want to show off, actually, speaking of changes, what you just saw there was some changes to the Locomotion.
Yeah,
game.
the little climbing
Turn off
animation
UI.
changed. It wasn't just a jump.
Beautiful. 1 second.
I mean, that looks so good.
Turn off. Oh, you can see there's some footprints there as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Got some footprints in the snip. Let me turn off the.
It looks like they fade a little too quickly though. I think the
They gone.
footprints should not fade quite yet. Run, kitty.
We shall not be bothered any further with that. Oh my god. I just told you to leave me alone. So we're going to enter this cave conflict, and as I was talking a little bit about the locomotion, the character's locomotion, you can see there's been some changes. We have footsteps, we have some tilting to the side when you move
Oh, yeah.
around. You can crouch. Must have
Nice.
You can
And you know, all that helps with
so
roleplay, you know.
do
It
some
helps with immersion.
cool-
That's important
I'll show
for
you
a lot
good.
of people. You know, you want that
A little bit of mantling.
subtlety and immersion, so you can kind of forget the outside world.
But as you can see, the Lumen, which is one of the global illumination features that UE5 offers, and is likely going to be most noticeable in dungeons, as it's going to do a better job than Skylight Actor, which historically was exclusively used for world indirect illumination everywhere. The Lumen actually provides a pretty realistic approach to lighting, utilizing dynamic global illumination. Makes the world come alive, as you can see here. Oh, okay, we have some plants. What are the plants even doing here? Why?
I like headbangers.
Oh.
Oh yeah. So you can definitely use the environment to outwit
Stay back
your
there.
opponents.
There's more of them. No.
They have like little exploding spores.
Die! Oh, I feel bad now.
I do. I still like the petals falling when they die. I mean, that's such a nice touch.
Alright, let's take a look at some of the changes with the mantling.
I like the climbing.
Now, jump up. These cool
Nice.
obstacles. Oh, it looks like there's been some corruption kind of seeping in here. That's kind of concerning. Just a little bit. But as you can see, the effects of... Oh my god. Okay, let me just dodge these guys real quick so I can get a stupid spot. Get us up here. No.
A little bit of a jumping puzzle there.
There we go. Alright. As you can see,
Good thing those
Taking
plant
a
things
look.
don't know how to jump.
up here, Lumen has done a great job.
Oh wow, yeah, look
Yeah.
at that. See the snow
really
blowing in?
bringing
That is nice.
to life this area.
That
As
is
you can see,
nice.
there's
That's such a nice
light
effect.
bouncing off of the surfaces and kind of casting into the rest of the cave, which is a pretty cool effect. What's up here? There.
Just have to avoid them all. Is that his spell, or is that something they're doing to him? Get a lot of XP from those things,
Feels
too.
terrible killing these guys, but you know, what am I gonna do? So take a look at the visual differences. I mean, the
I mean,
great thing is
that looks
you know,
really
you
good.
can
Is
go
there
back-
fog
I love
down
how you
there?
can also
It
see
looks like there's like
detail
fog down below.
in
That
the
does.
costume
That looks like a
cloth
fog. That is so
um,
sweet.
that we have now. But you can go back and compare kind of the graphical fidelity that's in Alpha 1 and take a look at this video, and I think we'll have another little trailer that kind of goes
That looks
through
really good.
the area and the world, showing off a lot of this updated visual stuff. I mean, honestly, I've played a lot of MMOs in my days. And I cannot tell you just how exciting it is to see these types of graphics now, especially with the hard work of really
Yeah, I
talented
really like the
individuals
snow
Epic,
blowing in there.
who do a great job.
You know,
with
and then you would have the snow kind
now
of
this latest
coming in and then
development of
kind of
3.5,
falling back
is
down,
really
you know, kind of getting swept
presenting
up.
some next generation visual. Come through here. I mean, look at this.
You know, and I like that interactivity of the world.
I love the
You know,
effects that
you have to
Jim did
crouch
with
and
the,
jump to get around, and
falling rocks.
you know, kind
It's like a
of
stream
you really
of
have
dirt.
to.
What is happening to these rocks? Oh yes, shower me. Shower me. Looks like corruption's kind of seeping in all over the place actually in this area, which is concerning. There we go. Okay, I was told that there is somewhere over here. No, here's one other thing about the Manson, by the way. You can kind of jump and attach to the surface. So as you're like jumping off of a ledge or falling down the side of some crazy mountain, you can grasp onto something maybe.
Oh, really?
Nope.
That would be pretty sweet. You know, if you accidentally fall down, you know, you can kind of grab
Can't you
a.
see I'm trying to record a video. Let's see.
Oh, he just
Oh.
saved it.
That was masterful.
He just saved
Masterful, I
it.
tell
Wow. I wonder what would have
Just
happened if he fell.
Literally by the skin of my teeth. I mean, I love the lighting. Let me through. Look at this. It is beautiful. Alright, go away. Oh my god, they're subterranean. Yep. Why are there so many plants in here?
Yeah. Since it's all rock, where are
Where's
they
this
growing?
tower at?
Where are they getting their nutrients from? I guess it's probably blowing in.
Whoa!
Oh, they
Can
can't
I not have
climb.
a leash range? There we go. Alright, I think we've made it past most of them. I'm supposed to get a book. Alright. We made it through. I think I see. Nope. You know what we're gonna do? I think it's time, perhaps that we take flight. Oh, that's beautiful. Is that the tower? That's not the tower. This is the entrance to some
Yeah,
type
that's
of dungeon.
like a like ruins or something.
Oh, by the way, Drake of the Canopy.
Oh, that's
I
really
believe
cool.
You've seen this guy in the past. He is.
I don't know if I've seen. I don't
beautiful
remember seeing
beast.
that one. Or maybe I have. Kind of a drake with antlers.
Loyal beast.
I like how his
Loyal.
wings look like maple leaves.
I mean,
The
honestly, this
Canadian
is-
drake. And Drake is Canadian, so
You guys got to let me know what you think of this.
there you go.
In chat and in the comments of this video.
Leave a comment.
It is beautiful. And you know, the great thing is I'm running a 2080 right now. I upgraded. And the frames are doing great. Let me... Thought I turned off nameplate.
There.
There we go. Alright. I think there's a tower up ahead.
So it's what, Dunir? Looks kind of Dunir,
Is this the tower reveal?
potentially.
That, my friends, is
Yeah, it's
the
definitely
tower.
looking Dunir.
You know, the levels
Almost looks like he's
inside
got like his hands up and he's fingering or
the
something.
dungeon that lies beneath this is going to claim a lot of lives. Will you be one of those lives? Who knows? But I heard that there's some great surprise for us up at the top. Let me see. You know what? We might just cheat and fly up.
No,
I guess
show
they-
us.
Oh,
Show-
you know, actually, this would not be an update without some mounts. Let me show you some
Oh, okay,
mounts.
so now we're getting into the mounts. Ooh,
This is
wolf.
Skinwalker. Say hello to this little guy.
He's kind of cute. A weird looking saddle on him, but
Very, very pretty.
a wolf I would definitely have for a mount, 100%.
This is our dear friend,
Oh, okay.
Carmine Chameleon.
Come on, come on,
Believe
come
he
on,
has a
come on,
crazy
come on,
tongue.
chameleon. Oh,
Oh, that guy's great.
got a big
See his
tongue on
run.
that boy.
Oh my gosh, I love his run.
Yeah, the back feet kind of kick out.
This guy's so cool. Alright, wait for it. He doesn't have steps for some reason. The steps don't drop. Let us fly. Cheating and went to the top of the tower. There's no monsters over here. What is that? Is that what I think it is? Is that a Christmas tree?
It does kind of look like a Christmas tree, doesn't it?
That looks awesome. Oh, you know what? Wait, one more. Moonstrider. He's very festive.
Oh, yeah.
Look at him.
Looks like he's got like kind of like socks on or something.
Aw,
Oh, it is a Christmas tree, too.
it's a Christmas tree.
The top of the tower.
Yes. How awesome is that? What is in this present over here?
Can you open presents?
Let me walk up to it. Oh my goodness! It's a UE5 surprise. Oh. Well, everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed this.
That looks
little
really
glimpse
cool.
Of a
That's a
new
really neat
biome, new
area.
area, the announcement for Unreal Engine 5. There's a lot of amazing and exciting things coming up in 2022. The team has been hard at work in prepping for Alpha 2, and we cannot wait to show you more of everything we've been working on. Hope you all stay well and safe, enjoy the holidays, and have an awesome new year.
Oh, thank you very much for following. Dark Kale Ruby. Rubio. Unreal 5, which is, I mean, that's a huge upgrade. And no, I mean, by the time this game comes out, most people will probably be close to the modern generation of video card. Like I got the AMD 2600 or whatever it is, and hopefully they'll catch up and they'll be able to have more good video cards on the market, so people can take advantage of what Unreal 5 can do, and the ray tracing or whatever version they have. Am I excited for Ashes? I am. I really enjoyed the Alpha 1 for what it was. The game looks phenomenal. It's always looked really good. Like their art department, gets props all the time. Masterful work from their art department. I haven't really had a chance to play with a lot of the foundational elements. I mean, we did a little bit of testing in Alpha 1. And I gotta say, even like the Alpha 1 was very stable, which is pretty impressive for an Alpha 1. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with what they have and where they're going with it. So I'm just catching up on the videos because for a few months I didn't have access to the internet or anything. So I'm catching up on all my videos. I have not watched any of these, so that for me these are all genuine reactions. But yeah, they've always done really good work. I've always been really impressed with the art and the style and everything. Like it's almost photoreal. They definitely are focusing on details, like lighting details and stuff, which is great. So there's a lot of promise in this game, and one of the things that I really appreciate is from really day one to where they're at right now.
Hello.
So from where they started to where they're at right now, there's been very little project creep. Very little. There's been a few things, and it's mainly because technology has allowed them to do it, and they've been fairly minor overall. Their primary focus has been on here are the core elements of the game, and we're not moving on until these core elements are where we want them to be. Unlike other games that should be mentioned, Star Citizen, which we will never see that game. I'm $1,300 deep into that game. And I honestly don't think I'll ever see that game come to fruition. Because they keep adding more crap. And they keep selling more ships. Which is great. I mean, you need lots of ships. I get it. I've played EVE Online. I understand. But, the one thing I like about Ashes is, they are focused on what they feel is the foundational, fundamental aspects of their game. And they have stuck to their guns, and I really respect that. As a gamer who's been around for a long time, who's seen a lot of shenanigans from a lot of developers, from a lot of development teams, who's been involved in a lot of alphas and betas. It's really good to see a studio step up and be committed to their goals, and I think that gives a lot of promise. Now, is this going to be a game for everybody? No. At the end of the day, could this be a game that I'm going to absolutely love and fall in love with? I don't know, because I mean I'm not a PvP guy, right? And I have a lot of concerns about corruption still. A lot of things haven't been fully answered yet. I'm still concerned about, how the whole griefing and whatever goes. I don't like the fact that if you don't fight back, you lose more stuff. Versus if you fight back and lose, you lose less stuff. It's like, yeah, but I shouldn't have been picked on by this person or group of people that are levels higher than me, period. So that I'm not a fan of. The fact that they have bounty hunters kind of makes me wonder why. I mean, because it almost seems like you're encouraging corruption. I mean, they know people are going to do griefing. They just know that, right? Like Steven knows that people are going to troll. People are going to do that. I mean, he's a bit of a troll himself. So I get that. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see, right? We'll have to see because I haven't seen it implemented yet. All I know is in Alpha 1, they did have to get to a point where they said if you PK, you're basically banned from the Alpha 1. So people were really abusing, that. And that kind of has me concerned, right? Because, well, the corruption system, I don't think is fully implemented. Your name would go red, but I don't know if you actually got your stat reductions or not, but it's like if you have to tell people not to PK, or you're going to get banned, then if your system's working, you shouldn't have to tell people to do that. So, but it's Alpha 1, and that's a system that you're not going to expect to be implemented until later in the game, right? I would say beta is where you'd probably expect to see the corruption come out. Alpha 2, like late Alpha 2.
Oh, we hope
So
that
we'll
you
have
all
to see.
enjoyed it. From the looks of the chat, we
But
think
that
you
was
did.
that was a great video. I
But
really
I did
enjoy
see
that.
quite a few
I like
questions,
that. There's a
so
lot of really good
if
stuff.
you
I
don't mind
love
me,
the
Steven,
lighting
going ahead
effects
and
and stuff.
asking
So
those.
Yeah, absolutely. Open to it
Obviously,
100%.
first and foremost is how does this upgrade to UE5 affect the Ashes of Creation release timeline? We knew that this question was going to be a question that came up. I saw a couple
Sure.
people asking it.
Yeah, it's a good question. So first, before I get into the question, I just want to say that, while we completed the majority of migrating from UE4 to UE5, and officially the entire development team will be on UE5 come the first or second week of January.
nice.
What we wanted to
And
show you
January is the
here
next video
was
I gotta
that a lot
watch.
of that legwork had already been
So I'm
done.
almost
Now,
caught up because
that
it was
doesn't
January,
mean
February.
that
So I'm
the
hoping
art teams have had an
to
opportunity
get the
to really
January video done
employ
in a few
Lumen and
days.
Nanite across the entirety of the
And
game
then I
yet.
think I'm going to
But we
try
did take this area in
and
the
do
world,
the February
and we
update
did
live.
incorporate some of the Lumen and Nanite in that giant tower structure and the dungeon assets that you saw, the entrance stuff.
Yeah, that was a really
So
cool area. I really like
you're
that
seeing
area.
Lumen and Nanite at work there, and
And it's
obviously,
huge.
this
That's
is
a
going to get in
huge area.
maybe into a little bit more on the technical side.
That's the other thing I like about this
Obviously,
game,
not
just the
everybody's interested in
scope
hearing
of
a lot
it,
of the
just
technical
how
stuff,
big
but
it is.
I'm happy to go into it a little bit.
Yeah, and we do
Um,
have our recommended specs on our KB articles on our support page if you want to check that out. That has not changed, but if those do change at any point, we will update them for you guys, and we'll make sure you're all notified of that change.
Absolutely. So on the question of timeline and how moving to UE5 will affect kind of what our internal anticipated delivery date is.
What do you think
So
about
a
the
big
game?
portion of this is there's a lot of front end
What are
work
your
that's
thoughts?
necessary for us, front loaded, so to speak, as we're doing the migration over, as we're taking a look at our assets and converting them over into Nanite. But in the long run, what this provides Ashes of Creation, what it provides the project, is continued support on a new engine from Epic for UE5, right? You have to understand UE4 began development like I think 2004 or 2005.
Yeah, they're not going to want to
and
support it
released in, I
forever.
think it was about 8 or 9 years ago. So while UE4 is a great engine, there are certain focuses and technological endeavors that Epic is doing on UE5 that won't necessarily be supported by UE4. And we want to make sure, given the lifespan of Ashes and how long we intend this MMO to last,
That was funny. He's
that
standing there.
when we made this
Mom comes
decision
up,
early on during the
starts
development
giving him
process,
a horny
that we
enema.
weren't going to exacerbate the amount of effort it would take to move over later in the lifespan or after launch for the MMORPG. So it made most sense for us to do this now during our alpha stage of development, right? There's a few things that are really integral to what Ashes is doing. So first and foremost, um, there's large world support that's intended in UE5 that was not present in UE4. Previously in UE4, there were some constraints on the size of an open world that you could have available before you ran into some issues. And, obviously we were supplementing that constraint, which was around 20 kilometers squared, with an underrealm, right? However, one of the other main components
Oh
that,
yeah, I know
and
there's
UE5 doesn't have that.
like so far there's been Alpha 1, which is a very rudimentary fundamental testing of very core systems. There's going to be an Alpha 2. Now, I would expect Alpha 2 will potentially, I would say Alpha 2 at the earliest would be fall 2022. Realistically, just seeing how fast they're moving along right now, because from Alpha 1, I think last month they said they're still kind of going through all the reports from Alpha 1 and having discussions and starting to make some of those engineering changes. So that's taken 5 months. They have to test those changes, with the Unreal 5 upgrade. I mean, that's going to take, a couple of, months to kind of get used to. So, I mean, they're still moving into the new studio. So I would say at the earliest, you could see an Alpha 2 spot testing maybe end of 2022, right? I would, maybe October, November. They might say, okay, Alpha 2 people, we're going to do a weekend here and there. Come in, play, do some testing, stuff like that, just so they can, retest some server loads. They're going to have better integration with all the different servers, login servers, and stuff like that. Databases are going to have to change because Unreal 5 is going to use probably a different database system or setup. And you have to remember, one of the things, and I've talked about this a lot in previous videos, you have Unreal Engine is the engine, and then they have built they have built all of their own proprietary code or software that goes to that engine. That's the transmission. So as the engine works, the transmission has to go with it, right? And you're always going to have a little flexibility there. And one of the things, and I pointed this out, and this actually happened. It broke, right? They were something changed. There's an update to Unreal Engine. I think it's when they updated from 4.24 to 4.26, right? It broke, right? So the transmission basically snapped. So it set them back about a month or two because they had to basically recode everything. That's going to happen. That's normal part of development. You expect that to happen. In fact, you want that to happen because that's going to point out a lot of any of the flaws or bugs or whatever you have in the codes. That's going to allow you to add more elasticity in your code, right? A little more flexibility so that when the engine wants to do something that your transmission's not quite ready for, prepared for, you're not just going to snap the clutch kind of thing, right? So that kind of stuff's going to happen. So I do expect there to be some spot testing probably later this year. If for no other reason than just to keep the hype going, just to keep people interested in stuff, because now that they've done the Alpha 1 testing, people are hungry, right? They want more. But again, development's kind of a slower process. So I would say, because Alpha 2 is going to eventually become, from what I remember, their public test realm, right? Their test servers. So Alpha 2 is apparently going to be persistent. So once Alpha 2 starts, it doesn't end. The idea is Alpha 2 just continues. They'll take it off to update and stuff like that, but it's basically meant to be perpetual. And then you'll have your Alpha 2, and then you'll get into your beta 2, beta 1, and then gold certified launch. And then there'll be brand new servers, but your Alpha 2 will continue. So I would expect Alpha 2, the persistent realm, I would say spring 2023, reasonably. Spring 2023, reasonably. And that's providing everything goes well. To be fair, I would say if they waited until mid to late summer or even early fall, right? Even September, October for the persistent 2023, I think that'd be fair. And I think at the rate they're working, because here's the thing, because of COVID really slowed things down because everybody had to work from home. Now, from an art perspective, right? You wake up, you roll into a chair, you start doing art. And you focus on what you're doing because you're working on a weapon or you're working on armor, and it just basically is just going on a model, right? You're working on a creature skin or whatever. Uh, Very simple and easy to do all by yourself. Now, if you're a coder, if you're an engineer, when you're working at home, now you have delays because you're updating code, then you have to submit it. It's going somewhere else. Other people are submitting code and it's going again somewhere else. It's not like you're all sitting in the same office, right? Where it's like you're all working together. You're talking over Skype perhaps or Discord or TeamSpeak or whatever, but it's not the same kind of communication. Steven can't just walk around and look at what's going on and say, I like that, let's go with that. Steven, is going to be talking with individual people, through these mediums. So it slows down, overall, it slows down your communication for the development side of things. So the game looks absolutely fabulous because the artists have had COVID to focus and put all that energy into it, and they're not commuting back to work. They don't have the distractions of jerk drivers and road rage or whatever other frustrations they might have. They just get to focus on what they're doing. So they've had a really good opportunity to really get the work done because all they have to do is kind of get the concepts out, send it to Steven. He goes, yes, no, and they just go back at it. Coding, there's a bug. Now you got to go hunt bug. You got to kill the bug. And did you get a whole bunch of bugs? What's the extermination process? When everybody's at home, and again, you're not just yelling at each other from across the room necessarily. You can't look at somebody and say, okay, that guy's got a frustrated look on his face. I'm gonna go over and say, hey, how's it going, right? Because maybe they're just having a little bit of a coding block or something, right? Where if you're at home, you might not realize that you've been staring at that same string of code for an hour and you're not getting anywhere, right? Where somebody's in an office is going to look at you and say, dude, like it's been 10 minutes, or like kind of what's going on. So it's just the dynamics are so different. So now that they're getting back into the studio, they'll definitely be able to do a lot more. And it's just my opinions, but this is based on what I've understood through interviewing developers, for online radio stations over the decades, over 20 years at least, and stuff like that. And just, seeing how people work in general in environments and stuff like that. So yeah, so like the art is way ahead of everything else, which is great because that only means the art's just going to keep getting better, and that's really, I think, it becomes a challenge for competition because the competition's looking at this saying this is only an alpha. This is an alpha. The game visually looks finished, right? The game visually looks finished. I mean, their UI is still pretty rough, but at the same time, I've seen World of Warcraft modded UIs that look exactly like this. Very basic, very general, and some players like it that way. They don't want all the extra accoutrement, right? They don't want all the fancy doodads and whatever. They just want to know the facts, right? They don't want all the screen clutter. So looking at this, you could say, like, this is a finished game, right? Like you could easily look at this and get that impression. And so that's something that they have to fight against as well, right? Because you have people that are going to see these kind of videos and be like, "This is an alpha? Like, holy crap!" I mean, you look at Valheim. Valheim's early access, right? But the games, they can release Valheim today. I mean, it is for all intents and purposes, a done game. Like it has a clear beginning, and it has a clear end, and all of the elements in between. They're just fleshing it out right now, which I think is awesome because I can't wait for the next update there. But anyways, let's get on with the video.
Constraint, right? We're able to do a much larger world in that sense. So that's an important aspect. The other thing is the pipeline, the way in which developers work in UE4 was through a sub-level system, right? Where you had to check out a sub-level and only one developer at a time could work within that sub-level. However, UE5 now utilizes the world loading in cells rather, and this allows for artists and designers working to be able to work in the same level without having to lock it to just one person at a time. That's a huge benefit given the nature of what an MMO is, right? And how much exists really in these sub-levels or now cells.
Yeah,
and
from a
it really
workflow standpoint, it's like basically
But yeah,
Intuit
I
has to
see
check something out.
I
And
see
then
the
in order
launch,
for
like
someone else to
release
check it out, they have to
date
like message me and be like,
for
hey, can you
Ashes
check
of
that in so that I can check that out? Because I
Creation
need to
Right.
implement my thing.
or
it's
this person left for the day and they won't be back until the morning, and I
potentially
need that.
And they
Yeah,
checked it
they
out,
late,
and
you
then
know,
you-
like
yeah.
Christmas
Right, yeah,
2024.
so
Yeah.
it's a major pipeline
You know,
improvement.
I think they can have
in
this
just the sheer
out
capacity
by
of
Christmas
people who can
2024.
work on a particular location in the world at one time. So as I was saying, what effect does this have on the timeline of Ashes of Creation?
And I would
As
guess
I said,
that's their
there's
hope.
going to be a few months where we're taking
But I would-
stock of
I
everything
would
that
say,
needs to be migrated
because Alpha
over,
2,
and we're addressing some of the
again,
bugs that
it's
come with
just
that type of migration, moving the project
testing,
over. There's going to be some bugs
and if Alpha 2
stuff
works
that's
as
present.
well as they hope it will,
But in the long run, it will significantly improve the development process. And that was
I mean, Alpha 2
major
might only
point
be a
in
month test,
kind of how we came
right?
to
A
this
month-long
conclusion. And just
test,
to give you a
and
little
then
bit
your
of background,
beta
right?
would be
You
6
know,
months
obviously
after
last
that.
year,
They tweak a few
we have a very
things,
close relationship, working
flesh out
relationship
a few
with Epic.
things.
Great,
6-8 months
team
later,
over at
boom,
Epic,
you're into
very
beta. So if
talented
they do
individuals, amazing
Alpha
company.
2 lists
And
this
you know,
fall, at the earliest,
we
say this
kind of
fall,
it's important for us to always keep on
8
top
months
of
later
the
is the
latest
summer
technologies. It's important for us to,
2023.
we pride ourselves in keeping
Game
up
could even
with
come
that
out fall of
latest tech.
2023.
And people
So
have
that
been
we can-
asking us about Unreal 5 for like
Right.
ever. I mean, you guys have been
Yes.
asking, and we've been continuing to tell you every live stream for the past few months that we're looking into it, but we don't want to make hasty decisions, right?
Right, absolutely. I mean, we have the luxury of not having to make hasty decisions, right? We don't need to rush something out to the public that's not going to be a good experience. And ultimately, the purpose of priding ourselves and keeping up with the latest tech is that we can deliver the best experience to our players, right? That's a very important, point for us. So,
and that's
when
provided they don't
Alpha
hit any
2
major
Alpha 1
roadblocks or
ended
anything like
in
that.
August,
But I think they
I commissioned our strike team, which
I
consisted
think they
of some
got
artists,
themselves
our
pretty
leads,
sorted out,
and
and they're
engineers to
growing
go
their
take a
team. So
look
as their team gets
at
bigger,
what it would mean to migrate over to
they'll
UE5.
be able to do
And they
more,
spent the better
accomplish
part
more.
of August and September doing that, and then presenting me with a recommendation, which was unanimous, to make the move to UE5. Vetting all the components that UE5 has to offer and the benefits it would bring to the project. So that's kind of, over October and November, that's when McP and the engineers began to do the base migration of our custom code base into UE5, see where there were any major issues.
And
The
again,
great
that's
thing about
engine
UE5 is that
transmission.
it's mainly
That's what I was talking
focused
about.
around updating the renderer, right? Giving access to nanite and lumen, global illumination. Like those are big components. There's other great aspects of it, but really it's a front end
And I think they
change.
learned a lot
and it
from
doesn't
the
affect
last time that
our
happened with
networking layer. It doesn't affect
the
our back end
Unreal 4 2.4
code.
to
So,
2.5 2.6 upgrade.
yeah.
When that all broke, I think they learned a lot.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about the benefits too.
They
of
probably
it.
learned a lot about Unreal.
There are some questions here.
And their own
actually, code. Well, let's go through all the UE5 ones, and then I'll ask about some other stuff that people asked in chat. This one's a pretty quick one. Will the upgrade to UE5 affect the supported operating systems? A lot of people are like, Linux, question mark?
No, that's not, it really doesn't play a factor. Unfortunately, there's the harsh reality of those of that additional operating system support is that there's just not a lot of players. There's not a lot of Linux users out there. from a player base. So, it's something that
Yeah,
we'll
it's a
evaluate in the future. I haven't ruled it
very
out
small
necessarily. Would
percentage
see how
of.
much work it would take to do that, but really, like less than 1% of the player base is using, Linux as an operator, as
Yeah.
an OS.
And we
But
constantly get the console question as well. And we're always telling you guys, like, currently we're focused on PC. If we do end up later down the line, expanding to console, we'll
I
let
mean,
you
even
guys know.
Apple, there's
Let's do one thing at a time.
5 to 7%
Next up, we have how will the upgrade to
of
UE5
PC
impact the
is
games
Apple.
required and
Because
recommended
PC is
specs?
personal
We
computer.
just talked about that a little
So
bit,
your
but I don't know if you want to go into
Windows
more
Apple.
details about that.
you know, the thing about the spec is obviously we want to make the game as accessible to everyone, and in that sense, the scalability settings and the options that players will have to play the game at different quality levels is going to be the big part of that question. Our goal is still to that end to make it as accessible as possible. So I don't yet know what impact it's going to have on our recommended minimum spec. I know we have some guidance on that in our knowledge panel and FAQ section of the website. It's possible that may change, and we'll update obviously as soon as we know what those changes are.
Yeah, if they're changed, we'll let you know. We'll post on the support site as well as on the support Twitter and stuff like that. And we'll let you guys know. But right now, as is, that is our min spec. You can go check it out over on our support page. Yeah. Beyond that, I know you kind of talked a little bit about this, but I don't know if you want to. It's a big question, and it's we could be here all day talking about it. But what is the process for upgrading from UE4 to UE5? People are kind of wondering if that's going to affect us.
That's a big question.
Is it going to take us longer for development versus
Yeah, the process begins initially obviously with vetting what aspects of our code base and project have bugs in part of this migration. That's something that engineers have obviously been spearheading as part of October and November's work. Got a lot of that addressed, especially by McP. He did a great job on that front. So I think that we will likely be releasing some blog come the new year that kind of details out what that process looked like moving from UE4 to UE5. It might be
really
something
cool
that
zone.
we do in collaboration with Epic and
it's very linear
though. We'll see. But
it looks really
nice.
It
is
but
it is
very
process,
linear,
and it does have implications on the art side.
Oh, it looks like
we have
there's
a
an ice troll
significant
down
amount of assets that have been created, obviously, for Ashes of Creation being
an
as
ice
large
troll
of a game
down
as
in
it
the
is.
fog. So there must be another
and,
layer down there.
There's going to be some taking stock of those and
so I guess if there's multiple paths to get to the same point, that'd be nice. That'd be kind of cool.
Chaos,
maybe different challenges.
There's a lot of stuff there that we want to take advantage of. And
like this
take some
this
a
area
little bit
seems,
of front end time, like I said,
there's jumping and crouching
to do.
Right.
Now
to go into some more
maybe
things,
have more jumping
are we
puzzles or
using
something
UE5
like that.
early
Then
access
it's
or waiting for the full
faster
release?
than say like maybe
we're using
different
early
pretty
access.
obvious that we're using the early access. And now I'm going to go into like kind of some questions in regards to like what are some of these pieces that are beneficial for us. So obviously the first part is
like
what is nanite
Assassin's
and how
Creed
will that
skin.
improve the visual effects that people are seeing right here on the stream actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Nanite brings us really an entirely new approach to rendering and art workflows. Now we can render more actors with extremely high detail while eliminating the need to bake out normal map textures. For artists, essentially, what this means is that they can import high quality sculpted meshes directly into Unreal 5 without really having to reduce the poly count, making the workflow more efficient while simultaneously improving the quality of the art. For example, the tower scene that you saw, that's made up of over, I think it's like 5 or 6 million polygons. So the level of detail that the assets would normally have had to make for that tower are automatically handled by Nanite. It's a pretty powerful tool.
Awesome.
I kind of wish he actually focused more,
here, and I
or
think
just
after this question,
look down
I may
into
have
that
another
fog a
video
little bit
that
more.
I want to
But
show people.
I guess
and
it's
then we'll
this is a
talk
sneak peek
about that as
Don't want to give
as
too
we're
much
showing
away.
that video. So what is Lumen and how will that improve the
Lumen
lighting?
brightness.
Lumen Lumen gives us a much more realistic approach to lighting. It utilizes a dynamic global illumination
Like
that,
lumen is a
as you can
light
see in the
count.
video,
So like,
really
a
brings
lumen is a candle
the
power.
world to life. The previous global illumination
So
methods,
higher
such as ray
lumen,
tracing, GI,
brighter the light.
were too expensive, but Lumen helped solve that problem in Unreal 5.
Well, I guess in Unreal, it
global
means
illumination
something
essentially
entirely
simulates
different.
light by bouncing off of a surface and reflecting that light and the color from the surface
That's
into
ray
the surrounding
tracing,
area. So Lumen's
basically.
effects are most noticeable in dungeons. It does a better job than the Skylight Actor, which historically was exclusively used for world indirect illumination everywhere. Skylight, captures the lighting contribution of the sky, except the direct light coming from the sun, and it uses that in a dungeon. It was very inaccurate, right? So what it
you don't
boils
have
down,
you don't actually have the sun in the dungeon either.
right? Exactly. and essentially what it boils down to is that Lumen
Basically,
is
that's what
going to greatly
Minecraft
improve the
does.
visual fidelity and performance of the game. With a reduced work and effort that's required by the art team, making Ashes of Creation much more beautiful than in UE4.
Yeah. I do have a couple other questions that were asked from the community, so I'm going to ask those, and then we'll go into this video that I want to show you guys next. So the
that
first
looks really
question
cool.
is, as you're kind of seeing in this video, well, earlier you were seeing it, Stephen had showcased some of the new
Canadian Drake.
locomotion
I'm calling
changes
that
that
the
are
Canadian
happening,
Drake.
which you're seeing when he's like climbing on things and,
got
and
maple
touching
leaf
objects and
wings.
interacting with them and jumping over them or under them. How do you think that those locomotion changes will affect PvP? Some of the PvPers were concerned, had a little bit of concern in regards to that.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the intent behind anything we implement in the game is going to be towards the end of our systems. PvP is a very important system in Ashes of Creation. So as we kind of play with this new ability from a design perspective, we're going to want to make sure, obviously, it doesn't impact negatively the idea of PvP. So really what it provides, in my opinion, as a person who enjoys PvP, is it adds additional dynamics to what is possible from your opponent or from yourself. If there's a ledge and jumping off that ledge is going to deal a lot of damage to me when I hit the ground, and that puts me at a significant disadvantage, maybe I have an option to jump off the ledge at a point where I can mantle onto the side of a cliff or something. Now, the give and take there is I won't be able to use my skills while I'm mantled, right? I won't be able to react easily, but I didn't have to take the fall damage per se. Or if there's an obstruction and I'm going to take a significant reduction in speed so that I can crouch and make it past that, and now I have a effective line of sight has been obstructed as a result of that decision. I think it adds interesting elements to the battlefield. And the key here is going to be making sure that it's not cumbersome, that it doesn't feel opposite of the flow of combat in PvP, right? That's something that's going to take some finesse. It's something that's going to take some testing. It's something that we're going to prototype with. But the functionality that's been implemented with the efforts of Alex Cudoli, one of our senior engineers, and our lead animator, Chris Myers, they've done a great job in getting this implemented. And now it is a tool in the tool set that design has to work with. And is it possible that we might come back and design says, look, there wasn't a way for us to make these additional functionalities congruent with our flow of PvP? Yeah, of course, there's always that potential. But it's been interesting to play with thus far.
All right. And then the next question here we have is UE5 going to change any aspect of class abilities, spells, etc., that need to be completely reworked?
Not that I can think of, no. One thing that might be incorporated as part of the class skills and abilities, going forward, is the application of Lumen and how those abilities from a visual effects standpoint kind of interact with the surrounding area and its illumination.
That'd be sweet.
That could be interesting.
And then as
but,
your
from a
skills
functionality
develop,
standpoint, no, I
or
wouldn't
as you
say
level
that there's
up your
going to
skill
be any
tree,
implications from a change to UE5.
that would change a little bit as well.
All right. I think
That'd
that
be
kind of
really sweet.
encompasses a lot of the UE5 specific questions that were being asked in chat. And to kind of recap, because I think some folks were a little confused about like whether this is going to affect our timeline. in the long run of things. And basically, to like kind of recap what Stephen was saying is, in the forefront right now, we will have a couple months where we are fixing bugs and as we integrate and change over to UE5. But in the long run, this is actually going to save us much more time. One of the examples that he gave is a really good example of being having multiple artists be able to work and check out a area. And work on that. That means multiple people can be working on that area at the same time versus right now, they would, or not right now,
Nice.
previously when we had UE4, they could, only one person could check out those places at a time in order to build out the world. So just giving that as an example, he gave a few other examples as well. We are going to be in the long run able to produce the project in a much faster timeline.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that, you know, our objective with Ashes of Creation is to create an amazing game that is going to, in the words of Sid Meier, stand the test of time, right? I'm sorry, I'm a huge Sid fan.
Yeah, I love
But
Firaxis games. Their
I know,
development team is cool too. Good people.
I know. So in that sense, you know, we're not compelled by some, you know, publisher imposed launch date or some investment board, you know, coming and saying this has to be done by this day. You know, the focus here for me and for our team is to create a product that the users are going to love, that you guys in the community have been asking for a long time, something that's not inundated with pay to win mechanics, something that you know, is not predatory in
The
monetization,
Frost
that
Phoenix.
doesn't have, you know, aspects of gameplay and MMO, something that answers the call of MMO players, right? And in doing that, we want to make the best product possible. UE5 from a support standpoint is very important in that regard, right? When we talk about the timeline of the game, I have said since 2020, or since the end of 2019, that the game is going to be ready when it's ready, and we're going to keep you abreast of the updates, the changes, the development, the progress every month, as we've done, and our amazing community team has helped to facilitate. Right,
Yeah.
so you guys get to see the game evolve and the game come to life over time. And you know, one of the promises that I want to keep is that that launch is not going to be mired in problems, that the game is
Ooh.
going to stay true. Exactly, the game is going to stay true to,
We'll have bugs. Everyone has
of
bugs.
course.
Yeah.
No,
I just want to make that clear.
I think the player base
Well,
knows what I'm talking about with certain games.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
That should not have been launched when they were launched.
And we've seen a lot of games have a lot of server problems, and I think that's why we focus so much on those server stability problems and issues during our Alpha 1 and previous pre-alpha
Right, and
testing.
I want to make sure I'm not trying to be salty, and I'm not trying to like call out any specific games, because it's not just one. There've been many.
Yeah.
If you've been an MMO player for any amount of period of time, you have experienced the games that should have been kept in
Some
the oven a
not
little
even
longer.
MMO games.
No, yeah, I mean, this
Launch
is
days are rough.
it's not just launch days. It is the project themselves that needed more time to develop.
Oh, for sure.
Launch day problems are understood. That's fine. We know there's going to be I think players
You're
are
saying
pretty
when like
forgiving.
a project launches and it isn't quite ready for launch. It's
Exactly.
getting rushed because of timelines.
I think
yeah.
players are going to be forgiving of launch issues, especially when those launch issues are derived from high player populations, right? And being inundated with a lot of players. I think we're really forgiving of that. But it's when you get into the details of the game's designs, when you get into the details of, you know, what bugs made it past QA, like those types of things, you know. Anyways, my point is that long-term gains in the development process, we feel, and the assessment feels, are going to make up for the short-term front-loaded work that's necessary for this migration.
Yeah, and I guess the follow-up question to that, because I do see a lot of people ask this question, even like non-stream days, is in regards to the long-term aspect of it. You know, funding, I think, is always the concern there. Obviously, you've said that, you know, we're not going to launch till we're ready. So basically, until
Yes.
Steven's like, I love this game, it is my future, and I'm going to play it
Yes.
every day of my
That's
life.
right.
We're not launching. And so what coincides with that is, how are you funding that? And I think a lot of people have questions in regards to that. I don't know if you're willing to share
Sure.
that aspect of it.
The
but yeah.
the bottom line is I am committed to this project's success and completion. And that means that when it comes to funding for the additional years that perhaps were not planned for, that's coming out of mine and John's pocket. And we're okay with that, because what we see in front of us is not only a team of extremely talented individuals, but also a community that is extremely passionate about the project and wanting to see it come to fruition. It's not just about what our personal desires are, John and myself being MMO players, but really it's about the fact that we've created a following, a community of players who want the same thing or similar to the same thing. And that's something that's at the forefront of my mind anytime I walk into work, is how is what we're doing
What does it
today
really
going to
work,
impact
Stephen?
the players tomorrow?
It sounds
That's
more
a
like it's
very important
passion.
question.
It's
It's a
every time I
product
walk into
driven
passion.
development aspect.
So it doesn't sound like it's
And
work to
I,
Stephen.
I believe, based on the millions of players we already have
Because
pre-registered
work
for
is
the
something
game,
we do grudgingly.
that Ashes of Creation is going to be one of the most successful and
You know,
largest
and
launches
it's
in
not
MMO
something we
history.
really want to do.
So,
We have to do it.
I
No
think,
pressure.
You know,
Knock
hey,
on wood.
let me just tell you real quick, I operate real well under pressure. So
Okay.
please bring on all the pressure. But yeah. So,
And to give some context, John is our CFO, because people are asking. People
yes.
who are, I noticed there's a lot of new people. If you're new here, give us a good follow.
Isn't
And
John
follow us on all of the other places. On
John
YouTube,
is
as well?
technically our president and CFO.
Oh, president and CFO.
Yes, that's right.
And as folks said in the chat, that's also Stephen's husband.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what I thought.
this is true.
But
Hey, it's fun
that's
to work
separate.
with your husband. It's fun.
Yeah, I think so. It can be both intense and also fun. All right, so I think that
That's
covers
one of the things I gotta actually
questions, and I
say
think
is
I should
pretty.
follow up on
It
some of the
has
ones
been
that
really
weren't clear
good.
to folks. So if you have others,
It's
feel
like
free
nobody
to
has ever
pop those
really
into chat,
made
and I
an
will
issue.
snag them.
I've never come
In
across
regards to
anybody that's made
UE5,
an issue
I know you guys have lots of other questions.
about Stephen being gay
And I
or
want to
anything
show
like
off
that. Like
this
I
other
had
video
my
that we
suspicions
have. I know
before I
Clayton
knew it
worked
was the
very, very
truth.
hard on it.
And then when I,
And so
you know,
I
and
don't know if you
I
want to
did
give a
some
little bit of
research.
a preface of what people are about to see,
Before I was going to throw a
and
bunch
then
of
we'll
money at the
showcase it
game,
and talk over the video as
I
we're
wanted
showing it.
to make sure,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
who was behind it and
So
everything
I think
like
we
that.
gave
And,
actually a little bit of an update on this
you know,
stuff.
found out he was
back
gay, and I'm
in,
like,
what was it,
okay, well
September,
that
or
doesn't
was
mean
it
anything to
October?
me. I don't care.
It
I don't remember.
was, I believe,
But
September. Yes.
yeah, but I want to know
Got it.
In
where
September
Steven get his
2020.
money from,
this
stuff like
was
that.
about,
Like you know, is he good for it?
essentially,
Because the last thing you want is somebody
how
to go
we're
broke.
going to perform from a rendering perspective.
You know, was he a guy that
all
had,
of the
you know,
characters we want to
have
see
the
in
chops
battle
kind of
on
thing?
screen,
And I felt
right?
confident that
Now,
he did. You know, based
obviously
on
this
his
goes above and beyond
the
what most
experiences and
players are
stuff.
going to
You know,
want to see anyways,
regardless
right?
of where he
You're
got
probably
him from.
ever going to see a few
You know, the
hundred
guy's
on your screen at a
clearly
given time.
driven and has
But the
skills
idea
and
is for
creative.
us to create. I mean, our objective was 250 versus 250. I believe we have accomplished a significant majority of that objective. In Alpha 1,
So
we had a
Steven's
castle.
like, more.
Well,
You can see him back there.
you want to put, I mean, you know, the technology that allows us to scale, right, scales to a point. And I think that that point is beyond what our objective was. And that's a good thing. So now let's see how far we can push it. And part of what Clayton Stamper has been working on, who's one of our engineers, with regards to, you know, combining the player materials, which was previously, you know, requiring, you know, draw calls for chest, shirt, bracer, shoulder, legs, boots, helmet, face, body, you know, that's all now been combined into a single material. And every single character is rendered using a single material. And, you know, essentially the GPU only gets to expect one call per player instead of the one call per piece of equipment on that player.
Which is
so I don't know if we have the video of his
Yeah,
update.
I'll play it while you're talking over it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
yeah, and that does definitely give you
like
a
I said,
lot
in September we
of,
showcased that merge materials shader, which brought draw calls from 12 previously per player down to one draw call per player by accepting material parameters from each modular section, the gloves, the legs, as I described before. The next step obviously was excuse me, implementing that shader for the player so that they could change pieces of armor and have that update the material parameter dynamically. The final step, which is what you're seeing now, was extracting that code from the player and re-implementing it in a generalized way that can be used for any object in the game that needs a modular appearance. So what you're seeing here showcases the new modular appearance
So
component,
they're
which
fighting
can combine any
kind of-
set of meshes
kind
and
of funny.
materials into a single mesh and single
it
material
looks.
at runtime. What you're looking at is over 1,300 different entities, different actors These are simulated players essentially.
I see
Previously,
the
you
one
saw the example. They
fireball
were just
kind of go
standing
up
still.
and
There
then
was no
pitch down it
animation.
in
There was no
arc.
effects. There was
I
no
think it was
environment.
1,000
Right, and it was
characters last time.
1,000. Right.
Yeah.
This is 1,300 playing animations, playing effects. Now, this isn't, again, just to
Plus
clarify, this
environment
is
and particle
plus the
effects.
environment, which is nanite in this example. So what you're seeing is all of these players moving around and doing something, and you're seeing the frame rate at about 30 on Clayton's rig, which I think is running at 1080. And
It's not
obviously
terrible.
I
all
told him
stuff.
I feel like I'm on a roller coaster.
Yeah,
You might
a
want to
little
take
bit.
some Dramamine before you watch this video.
The merge process, by the way, here is multi-threaded, and
I mean,
it won't
30
cause any
FPS
hitching
isn't
thanks to
terrible, right?
something
Like,
that Zach Mallet
I mean,
has done.
PvP,
And it could
okay,
theoretically
maybe.
work for any
I mean,
modular
if you're
appearance,
against somebody
from
that's got a
characters to
better
mounts,
rig,
weapons, even
you know, and
boats.
they can squirrel a few
Since this was
extra
built as a
FPS, I mean, it
data-driven
can make a
component,
difference.
designers
But
and artists get to make the infinite combinations of the appearances for any object without support from engineering, which is a big process
Super
aspect.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you're seeing in this demo isn't players; they're entities. As I said before, they have 2 to 3 modular different appearance components attached to them, with data telling each component to generate a random character appearance and play combat animations. An example of how this can be applied to the actual siege, that each player, will have modular appearance components for their body. They'll also have modular appearance components for their custom built weapons and riding a mount with, custom appearances as bred through the animal husbandry system, all of which are running on a single draw call. And that allows the GPU to render modular meshes pretty efficiently. So this is work to accommodate the rendering side. So this isn't the server side stuff, right? This is rendering. This is
Not
your
network
computer
traffic stuff.
showing you other players and how many other players we can show you, and the different costumes that they'll wear and the different mounts
well,
that they'll
draw
have,
distance
and
makes a
still
difference
be
as well, right? You
performant,
can always
right?
just
It's one thing to
reduce
say
your
we're going
draw
to have
distance,
500
so
player battles, and
you
it's
don't
another thing to only
see
see 30
every
people at a
character
given
at all
time in that 500
times.
player battle. So we want to
You know,
make sure that
you'll
we're
just see
able to allow
within a
players
certain
to really
range,
see these massive battles.
depending on what you're
Hopefully
doing,
that
right?
explains a lot.
Yeah. I think the follow-up
Without
question
getting
people did
too
have
technical.
was in regards to network traffic and the impact of that having that many players on it. I know that's separate from the UE5
Yeah, that's
stuff, but
that's a totally different thing than even what we're seeing here, right?
yeah,
That's
exactly.
something that
I like the
that is
graphical
on
glitches with
the
some of the
back end, on the network
catapults.
layer, how we're optimizing the traffic between, the client's computer and the
Server.
network and the server, and then we're replicating that data down to other players. Movement's a big component of that. There's a lot of aspects of custom code that's been done from the team to help facilitate these large battles, and everything that we do, from a even starting at design, right, is with the objective of having these large battles. So when we talk about our server architectures, when we talk about our networking layer, when we talk about, those types of things, how they facilitate these ideas of having large player battles.
Hopefully that helped you and answered your questions. And I do see a lot of repeat questions in there, so hopefully mods can answer some of those. But yeah,
This is a more technical stream, so
it
I
was very
apologize for
much.
those of you guys who are falling asleep and it's just like, just show me more videos. I'm sorry.
And obviously this is going a bit longer, so thank you for bearing with
Well,
us.
you guys had a shorter
A
stream
little extra
last one,
longer
so
treat for
you have a
you
little
this
extra.
December. I think that's all I have really on the design side, unless you have anything extra you'd like to talk
And that
about.
was a little bit on the engineering.
I know
actually.
that design and engineering are also
Oh,
working
yeah.
on a lot of other things beyond just what we're showcasing today with Unreal. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
What are you guys' thoughts on this so far?
There's a lot.
It's a lot.
How
yeah.
long do we want the stream to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say one of the other things that probably will be coming up next month or the month thereafter, if it isn't ready by next month, but it probably will be, is a huge update on the character customization. Zach, Adam, Jinsey, Atkins,
After this, we'll,
the animation team with Myers, and there's been a lot of
probably get
work
into
put into
RLCraft.
character customization, getting that ready,
New
and
version
it's been
out,
actually really fun
2.9.1.
to see. Zach's been sending me
with Twitch
examples
spawn.
of and Clayton's been working on that front as well a little bit. Has sent me over examples of like custom faces that he's made that are like celebrity faces,
Oh,
just
okay.
to see the capability. I asked them last think I asked them, was it last month? What is this, December? I asked them at the beginning of this month when I was getting a review update on the character customization work. I was like, one thing we should consider is, as this is ready in a standalone client, to hand out and get people start working on character customization, it'd be great to hand that out to like focus group testers who can go and make like custom um, uh, um, examples of celebrities or whatever that they
People want to
like.
do contests. So
Yeah, exactly.
we were thinking like
That'd
we
be
could
kinda
do
neat.
like put like some nice photos of like some of our staff and then have a contest to see
Right.
who could make it as
Oh,
close as
I'd be
possible.
really
And then
concerned
you
about
make
that.
those
Don't
people
include me in the photo.
NPCs in the
But
game.
anyways, but giving that out and seeing what limitations they experience, right? What were they not capable of doing? And then we adjust the parameters of the customization to accommodate those desires. So yeah.
Yeah. And they did share with me a little bit of an update on that front, but like Steven said, it's not quite ready to share yet. We also have a lot of other things down the pipeline for you guys, some more prototyping that's happening on the design side and engineering side. So we will be showcasing those in the future months as we get closer to being ready for that. Without further ado, I think we move on from the design side. We will have these videos available over on our YouTube channel. After this live stream is done, we will have the walkthrough available for you in the 4K resolution, so you can go ahead and watch that. Some of the other content will come out later, and the full live stream will probably be up on YouTube tomorrow because it's going to take some time for it to render, especially for how long we're going right now.
Yeah, I think that the 20-minute long video, is that going up after
I
the
already
stream?
have it uploaded and ready to go. So
Perfect.
I just have to
Awesome.
push live when we're done. Yeah.
And that's in 4K. So when the stream is over, feel free to take a look at the YouTube video that we watched here. Again, you can see
Subscribe
it in 4K.
over there too. I know a bunch of I see the stats. There's a bunch of you watching who aren't subscribed. Calling
Margaret's
you out.
gonna come after you. She's coming for you.
I'm just kidding. We were just looking over our monthly reports, and I was like, man, that's a lot of people that aren't subscribed, but they're watching. So thank you for watching.
They're not liking
moving on
either.
to environment art. Our environment art team, as we have mentioned previously, have been
And as I talked
working
about art
pretty
earlier,
hard on
it's
some cool
always
Empyrean
phenomenal.
objects, as well as Kalar. That's been their focus.
Oh, that's a nice looking lectern.
They did a bunch of other stuff for previous races in the past, and so now they're just kind of like making the world really feel vibrant and
Spiced
unique
wine.
per race. And right now, these are the Empyrean ones. You're going to be
That must
seeing
be early Captain Morgan.
Dummies, podiums, little spices and wine. That was that little box that you saw earlier. A stool, which is so pretty. A
Yeah,
cooking
these are
pit,
awesome.
a street sign, and a table that is
Practice dummies.
yeah, very cool stuff. Obviously, the more things that we have in the world, the more we can fill up
cooking.
the world with beautiful stuff
Barbecue rack.
for you guys to see. We know that a lot of you want to see very unique spaces every time there's a new city, so that's definitely something we're trying to portray, but also keeping them within the racial and cultural kind of guidelines that we've
I
set
can
for
see somebody
ourselves,
making that.
with like the materials that they use and the gemstones that they use and the style and the
That's the one thing I really like
just kind
about
of
a lot of their
how
art when
everything
it comes
comes
to
together
the
is quite
physical
beautiful.
items is,
And then we have the Kalar stuff, which you're
You
going
know,
to see is a
they're
little bit more blocky, less like
designed
sharp
in a way
pointed
that
edges and things of that sort.
I
These
think
are the work in
somebody,
progress boat.
with the skills could
We've seen a
legitimately
few work in
make
progress
real
boats
world
in the past.
versions
This
of
is
them.
like early stages of it. There's a chest, road sign, a sofa, and some table stuff as well. But
Yeah, these look all great. I mean, the art, we have such talented artists.
amazing.
And just over this last, couple of weeks, there were Tristan and Mia and Hal, everybody on the artist, Michael Bacon, everybody on the art teams are incredibly talented and really threw in a lot of hours over this last week to get this UE5
Almost looks Victorian.
announcement ready, and showcasing some of the Lumen and Nanite features.
And that
in
chair
this-
has
in
been
this little
made for
walkthrough that we did.
centuries.
So
Yeah.
big shout out to
Some
them.
Middle
You guys
Ages
did an awesome
tables and
job.
chairs there.
Amazing.
We love you.
We need hearts in chat. Hearts in chat.
Lots of
for-
hearts in chat for our artists. They are quite
for
wonderful
our
people.
artists.
Moving on from there, we'll move on to our character goodies.
Ooh.
We have, this is by Danny. This was the Vestiges of the Steel Bloom. And I have a turntable of it as well. So you can kind of see that. The 3D model.
Oh, yeah, it looks great. Love it.
Yeah. And, you know, I think a lot of you saw in game Steven's armor, how like reflective things were in the world. It's just quite gorgeous once you see everything like actually in the game, and how the cloth feels and
The
looks
woman almost looks taller than the
as you
man.
move and interact, and you know, even how weather is going to affect that stuff is very, very neat. Just brings everything to life, the little small details that you notice. And I think this one Steven showed off in game as well, which is the Carmine carapace. We have a 3D render of that as well, and you got to see it in game as well with in-game lighting. Obviously, when you're
Oh,
in
yeah.
game,
I had
lighting
that on
changes.
in the in game.
Yeah, this one was the one that I really had a lot of fun designing, so it was very cool.
Very cool. The face really reminds me of Shredder.
Yeah,
Yep.
it should be. It's very much like a Renkai
Oh, yeah.
set.
Yeah.
And then we have the Moonstrider, which you
Ooh.
also saw in game.
Yep.
Here are some like more high res images of the Moonstrider.
Yeah, that looks a
with
lot better
someone
than what we
riding
saw in
them.
the game.
And a new hairstyle if you
I love
hadn't
the
seen that
Got a
hairstyle.
Moonstrider.
blinder on. Poor
This
thing.
was one of the first. I think this is one of the first mounts actually that we concepted. In addition to
It was before me.
in addition to the Dawnbreaker.
Very cool. And I think I have a 3D, turntable of that.
It's a nice looking mount.
Very, very cool. And last, but never mind, not last. I have a couple more. We have the pet, the wretched, let's go here. The wretched
Ooh.
Rafflesia. There we go, Rafflesia.
Rafflesia.
Yeah, I'm like, I designed this, but saying the name is hard. English is hard. But really cool.
Kind of a neat looking plant.
Very neat. And
It's like
kinda
a
got to see that
Groot
in
meets
game.
Seymour from
Somebody
the
said,
Little
"Feed
Shop
me,
of Horrors.
Seymour."
Yeah, I could definitely see that vibe for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then moving on, you saw Steven riding this bad boy, which is the
Canadian
Drake of the
Drake.
Canopy.
It's Canadian Drake.
I so want this as like a little model piece that I can use when I'm doing tabletop stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Looks so
I think
cool.
there's still some effects needed on that. I told Jim it might be cool if after some of the flaps or something, little like particles
Leaf
of
particles.
October leaves come out. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked to imagine this as, you know, you see a leaf kind of floating down the sky from far away, but as it gets closer, you're like, that's not a leaf.
That's not a leaf.
That's not a leaf.
It's a leaf dragon.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So Manny worked on this one, which is cool.
Yeah, great job, Manny.
Yeah,
Looks great.
very beautiful. And I believe we can move on to our Q&A from there. Again,
Awesome.
thank you all so much for putting all the love in chat for our artists. They are quite amazing. We try to showcase some of the stuff they're proud of each month. And, you know, we'd be here forever if we showed off every art
Yeah, the
piece.
art
Plus, we
is
want to
always
keep some
amazing.
stuff a little bit more, you know, exciting for you guys to experience as you see them in game. And I think there have been some questions in regards to like cosmetic items and that front. I think we've explained this quite a few times, but just to kind of reiterate that, just because I know that it has come up more recently because we've gotten a lot of new people into our community. Really what you're helping us do, if you decide to do that, you do not have to back or support us. We completely understand if you don't want to. You know, put your money where your mouth is type of thing. But I think that from our perspective, we're going to be creating these creatures. We're going to be creating these NPCs. We're going to be creating these buildings to build out the world and the cultures of our world. And really what you're doing is just helping support that. Each one of those creatures is creatures that fills the world. Each one of those buildings are buildings that are going to, you know, make the world come to life. And so we're going to need a lot of those. And these are allowing us to kind of create variations
Yeah, I
and do
probably
them a lot
spent
faster.
100
Yeah.
And we're already going to do it
or
anyway.
whatever
So
And
on
as I have said many
additional
times in the past,
things,
the
additional
whole
cosmetics.
purpose of our development process being transparent, being open, is that you don't have to buy a
There's other
package,
cosmetics
actually,
I wish I
to
could have bought.
participate. You
But
can
I
be a
came
voice
along a
from
little
the
later
community. You can
in the plan.
observe people playing. You can give your experiences and feedback, or you cannot. Nobody should feel that they have to back the project to see it come to life. It's coming to life regardless of that. You do it because you want to support us, and that's fine. And if you don't want to, that's also fine as well. We want to hear your voice and we want you to be part of the community. So that's a very important aspect. Nothing we offer in the pre-order packages are power driven. They don't give any competitive advantage to an individual who backs the game. You can observe the alpha tests and the beta tests, and learn what other people who are participating in those tests can learn.
Yep.
So
And people won't just be able to use those cosmetics like right off the bat at level 1. I think that's that's what people think is going to happen. You have to own the item,
you have to earn them,
and the item has to have a cosmetic slot on it that correlates with that item.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to see 100 million people running around with these.
And for those of you who are familiar with the project, you hear us say this 1,000 times, but we obviously always have new people who join the community, and we want to make sure that they're aware of that as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate it because I did notice like on Reddit and a few other spaces that it was coming up again. And I know we've gone in there. Our community team's amazing. They've already been replying to those comments. And I saw that even you guys as community members have been doing that. So we really appreciate you reiterating that message.
So for those of you who are watching this live,
I've said this in the past, I'll say it again.
When
we have an amazing community already, and the game hasn't even
come
launched.
back to some Minecraft.
So you guys helping out, kind of explain stuff to new users.
If you're watching this on YouTube or
give them the links to
like,
the knowledge bases,
follow,
so that they
leave
can
a
catch
comment.
up. The
I
cool
do try to
links.
reply to comments.
Being a welcoming community is a very good
Or if
thing.
you want to watch what I do live,
really
twitch.tv/
MMOs are all about.
No, not 100 million players per server. I was exaggerating.
Oh my goodness! Did you say 100 million players per server?
I was joking. I don't even think I said server, but
yeah,
people took it that way. So saw a comment. I'm like, no, quelching that right now. No,
not like this.
Not like this. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to our questions, and then we'll wrap up. This has been a long one, so thank you all for enduring it with us, and we hope that you really have enjoyed it and that we've answered a lot of your questions. And if we don't answer your questions here live, a lot of them are probably repeat questions. So if you asked a question in the forums, I will be replying to that thread today. All my staff is gone, so I have to do it today. But I will be replying and answering your questions. So if you didn't get answered here live, please check that. And so these are the non-repeat questions. First one is from Emberstone, and they want to know about escort quests. Are there escort quests planned where the escortee is walking and running at the same movement speed we are? So often in a lot of MMORPGs, you'll be like, you'll have an escort quest, and you're like, oh my God, I have to walk like so slow with this person.
Yeah.
Or they're running too fast and you have to keep up with them.
I foresee these, if there are escort-oriented quest lines, utilizing different speeds at different portions of the escort. I think that makes it interesting. But short answer is yes, there are going to be different speeds that are going to be utilized. So you might be walking through one area and then they might start running and you might have to keep up. And that might be timed for certain ambushes that are intended along the design path, right? Like if you don't address that ambush in a quick manner, your escortee has already started running off to the next thing and now he's getting ambushed by the next thing, right?
Oh my gosh, the chat's like, can I kill the person I'm escorting? You guys are so mean.
I mean, maybe you can. Who knows? What if questing had a pass or fail and both were legitimate rewards in the sense
that would be nice,
right? Perhaps if it fails and you kill I'm just joking, but if you kill the person,
some other person finds out that you killed them and is like, hey,
or not even that, maybe you accrue not corruption points, maybe you accrue like negative reputation, right?
Yeah.
And that might be a predicate for you to accept a more seedy quest line in the back alleys of a node. Like, you might have to hit a certain negative reputation before you get some bad actors.
Tell them that, Steven. They're going to
that'd be cool.
People out there that are going to do some evil stuff just because they want to find it.
Yes.
He's like, yes.
I mean, it's
good. That'd be good though. That literally makes your world more lived in.
Like 3 or 4 weeks ago, Jeremy Guess and the design team on reputation scores and what those reputation scores mean on a per faction basis, right? The more, good aligned or civilization building aligned tasks
I mean,
that
you'll
you
have two
complete, you
different
get higher
factions that
positive reputation.
one
But if you
that
get
hate each other,
low or
right?
bad reputation, you could be deemed enemy of the state of a node. You could be deemed kind of a bad actor, and it might raise prices for you, but it also might open up certain quest lines that, the darker, seedier side of the world are interested in communicating with individuals like yourself, right? And this could be
Interesting.
reputation on a per node basis, right? It's
You
not,
see thieves.
you're not
You
just,
start seeing thieves can't
I
like
don't
on
think
the
I have
walls.
83
yeah,
behind it.
sorry, I'm going off on a total tangent, but go ahead.
Welcome,
It's
Pug.
okay. People like it. Our next question is from Nolsey. Let me know how I'm supposed to pronounce that. It's about dueling. Will you be able to initiate a duel within a freehold or a city?
Yeah, duels won't be considered a part of the flagging system, right? The duels are going to be a self-contained event that gets opted into by the inviter and the
And
the
if you want your sound
participants,
effect,
and that's
it's
how
Like an
someone would
Agni
attack.
Kai
exclamation
and
redeem
Airbender.
Right.
space
It's a little.
stroke.
The guards look at you in the city and they're like, "Oh my God, not these larpers again." I'm just kidding. I'm just
I would be like, Steven,
joking.
I call upon you for a
So,
battle.
I take the
Duel
glove
me
out,
at
slap
dawn.
the player. Yeah, exactly.
Slap you with a sandal. No.
As a matter of fact, we should include whenever there's like a duel, we should include some like
Stay a
texts
while
from
and
the guards as
listen.
they walk by. Is like, not these larpers again. I don't know. It'd be funny. Anyway,
We should have a sandal duel as just like a fun. Just slap each other with a sandal. It's like the melee version.
That'd be hilarious.
All right, our next question is from Nostra, who wants to know about siege scrolls. Do completed siege scrolls expire, or can you hoard them forever? So
No,
can you do the quest
they
line
do
and keep them?
So they do expire. And the method right now is when you complete a quest line and you're going to receive the scroll, you must stipulate the node that that scroll is valid for. And then there
Okay.
is a lifetime on the scroll, right? So yes, there is a lifetime, and the scrolls are determined by you at completion of quest with a name on it.
See, my
Right.
question though to
And-
that is, okay, so you got the scroll, right? But then the node levels up before you can use the scroll. What happens then? Because the quest line, from what I understand, between getting a siege scroll for a village is different from a city, different from a metropolis, and so on.
George Black and Pickadoliver want to know about max level.
And by the way, the
oh,
mayor is
go
made. I'm sorry, real quick. The mayor is made aware of what scroll has been generated if their node is the one that's named on the scroll. So, like,
Ooh.
you may not have placed it yet, and it has a lifetime.
So they can
But
prepare.
the mayor gets some informant that tells them.
Yeah, so
you
then the
know,
mayor just
"Hey,
tells everybody, level the
someone's out
node,
there,
level the
and they're
node.
trying to gun
level
for
the
you right
node."
now, so you better be prepared.
Or you can try to diplomacy your way out of the situation if you can figure out who it is.
Yeah.
She was like, "Yeah, that's not happening."
If someone goes through the effort to attain the scroll, it's unlikely they're going to have
I
diplomacy.
don't know. Some people are pretty ballsy. They're like, "Look what I got." They're waving it around. So, George Black and Pickadoliver want to know about max level. As
Wonder
an
if we could
MMO
kill 'em
player, what do you
and then take the
consider
scroll
a
from 'em.
good carrot on a stick to keep players once you've reached max level / gear progression?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of elements in different progression paths in the game, whether it be accomplishments through the crafting system and becoming a master of the economy, whether it be political player driven systems and achievements and trophies that you can hold on to or lose, like castles, aspiring to become mayor, the types of wars
Funny if
and
one of those
and,
rocks that's falling down there
different
can knock you
PvP
out.
elements,
You start
the,
taking, like,
the
HP damage.
raids that you can help to gear out your guild. It's like, there's a lot of traditional.
Because he's just
MMOs.
wearing a
House,
hood. He's
your
not,
freehold.
You're
you know,
absolutely.
he's not wearing
There's
anything that's really going
the
to
way
protect
that
him.
Ashes is constructed is there are multiple paths of progression from a PVX perspective, a kind of wide net perspective that players have interest in, and you're not going to be able to become the master of everything, right? So you're going to have to pick and choose, but even picking and choosing that gives you a place within that aspect of the world, at a place that's going to be something that you can build up a reputation around. And a lot of those are player driven and are cyclical in nature of the gameplay loop, right? They don't necessarily have an end game state, right? Because that can fluctuate, that can change from moment to moment. And it's those types of fluctuations, it's those types of unexpected outcomes that keep you involved, that keep you interested, that keep you emotionally invested in the outcome of these types of more player driven aspects.
And you can totally go out and be a fisherman. I think someone was mentioning that in chat.
Fisherman,
You can
yeah.
totally do that. Just be careful. There might be some pirates out there or some big
Yes.
creatures in the ocean causing
Pirates
some
are big
commotion.
fishes, yes.
Well, yeah. Well, the big
Our next
fishes
question is from
sound fun.
Dante Machiavelli, and they want to know about costumes. Will there be any cosmetics or armor pieces that are more revealing than the default appearance of a
Glitching to the ground
character
there.
when they're not wearing anything?
Than the default appearance. What does that mean? Like, if you were, is there any, is there going to be more?
Can you be naked or wearing like a swimsuit? I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not sure about their exact specifics, but basically,
you
are we
can't
going to
be
have more
naked.
showy body part armor?
There's going to be, there's probably going to be armors. Well, probably not. I don't know. There's going to be probably armors or costumes or clothing sets that you can, wear that are going to be more revealing, but they're not going to be you being naked. That's
Yeah, there's no junk in the game. Your characters don't got junk.
We keep getting people asking about sliders for certain body parts and stuff too.
Oh, there might be sliders. Yeah, but there's not gonna be naked sliders.
We're not rated M for mature. We're definitely trying to make sure
wrong with sliders.
Our game is accessible to a variety of people.
Yeah.
And that is all of our questions for today.
Ooh.
So we've
Hey, I guessed we would make it to 12:30, and it's 12:35. It's not bad.
Yeah, I messaged Steven. I was like, I think that we could do it in an hour, but if we keep tangenting, we'll probably be over for sure. But I think we're good. It's kind of our last day of the work year.
Oh, it is today. Crazy. Today is the last day of the work week, and then we're off until January 3rd.
Yeah, so it's very generous of you and John to give that to the team. I know everyone at the company has been very thankful. So, yeah, so I think that's it for our December development update. We had a lot of stuff to showcase to you all, and obviously our teams have all been working very, very hard on everything. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for sharing information with other people. We saw a lot of new faces today too. So for those of you who are just joining in, there's a lot of places to keep in touch with us. You can follow us on.
So yeah, so they're basically just going to do the wrap up right now. So yeah, so Unreal 5 is now a thing. It's going to take them a little bit to transition into Unreal 5, but it is definitely going to, at the end of the day, be a far greater benefit to the game. Really looking forward to that. I think that that's really awesome. The videos and stuff they showed us were really, really cool. As always, the art is phenomenal. The gameplay is looking better. I definitely like some of the, like the climbing animations and stuff like that. It's definitely looking a little more fluid. So yeah, things are coming along quite well. Very, very happy to see all of that. And I'm only one video away from catching up. So I'm hoping to do the January video in a few days. I want to upload these ones, let them get some views, and then we'll probably do the January one here in sometime next week. And then we'll have the February update, I think the week after that. And I'll try and do that one live if I can. So yeah, it's been phenomenal. Again, if you are watching this on YouTube or Rumble, please leave a comment, subscribe, whatever, to do, because I will be doing more videos, definitely once they kind of get back into the live stuff. And I'm hoping, to start do live streaming eventually to one or both of the platforms as well. So really, really looking forward to that. I do expect Alpha 2 probably have some spot testing, probably come summertime or towards the fall. we'll have to see how that goes. And yeah, otherwise, thank you guys for hanging out and watching. I'm Beck Altar. You can also watch live on twitch.tv/BeckAltar, where I host a Valheim server and a Minecraft server, an RLCraft Minecraft server. And I'm going to do a little bit of that. I'll take a short break, grab a quick bite to eat. I don't have to work tonight, so we'll see how late I can be up. Probably a couple more hours at least. So we'll see you guys rather shortly. Thank you for watching. Big, huge thank you to all of my subscribers and my supporters. Big thank you to Upfront Poop Dog, 19 months subscribed. Random Runes, 25 months. Fenrir with 16. Zero Air for 5. Core Code at 10. And then we have Liger Gaming, who's leading the bits or cheer donations, I guess. And then my moderator, Strahd, who is in chat. So thank you. And Dark Chow Rubio was here a little earlier and a new follower. So thank you very much. I appreciate that as well. Have yourselves a great night. We'll see you later.